Tom, I've been told that you won this project partly because you proposed something strong in front of the monument that we have in front, the palace. So how to exist in front of a communist monumental piece from 55? How do you exist?
Well,
I mean, your building.
Well, it certainly took us a long time to understand this site and to understand the history of this place and the palace. And it became clear from those early days that we needed to do a building that was very present in the city, very present and identifiable. Mm-hmm. And we knew then we had to make a strong work of architecture and a heavy work of architecture so that it had metaphoric and physical weight to it, that every piece of articulation in the building had to have that sense of weight. And then we decided very quickly to make the building out of concrete. Mm-hmm. To give us two things. One, this weight, so that it wouldn't be clad with a thin stone. It would have a sense of solidity. And second, because we wanted to give this building a kind of a handmade, crafted quality. So this concrete is,
that we see here, which
yes,
is beautiful, which can look like marble sometimes.
And it was beautifully crafted. The craftsmen who were in a tent in front of the building while it was under construction were making the forms like a piece of cabinet work. Mm. They were then pouring with great precision and vibrating the concrete, setting the forms beautifully, mixing the concrete beautifully. This concrete was a matter of pride for these craftsmen that were making it, and they all were from Warsaw.
Symbolically, it was very strong, right?
Symbolically, having it made by the people who were here, not having the stone shipped in from someplace else, not having it made by other people who were out of the city or the country. We wanted it to be a part of this place by making it by people from this place.
I wanted to speak about the shape of the building and the dialogue between this building and the monster in front.
Well, there was a zoning requirement here. The building could not be any taller than the cornice on the palace.
Ah.
And it had to have this rectangular shape to it.
Why?
Because of a master plan that was passed by the legislature here.
Okay.
It had to be a particular size and height. And it was actually prescribed that it have an arcade. So there were certain things that the city insisted on through their ordinance, through their building code, and so that's how the building began to take shape.
So, but when you draw a building, what do you think about? In this case,
I think about abstraction and this sense of a kind of minimalist expression.
So you have a reference to some artists?
Well, you know, Donald Judd, for instance, had this sense about making these very simple forms that would change in the light. I mean, I think this work, as it lives here in the light of Warsaw, as the sun comes up and it begins to play against these facades, then the light becomes more present. If the form is very simple, it combines the light and the architecture to weave itself together so that both are present.
And
If the architecture has too many gestures,
yes.
it becomes too complicated, there's more than one material, then you begin to cloud its relationship with the light. You want something that will elevate the light and give presence to the light as it moves around during the day.
And do you think the whiteness will last with the weather, with
Oh, yes.
pollution,
Oh, yes.
and with time?
Over time, one will probably have to clean it every so often, but it cleans very easily. We have a very good coating on the building so that it's going to clean well. And the other thing I would say about the whiteness is that it is a vitrine for light, I think, as I talked about downstairs.
Yeah.
It holds and contains the light. It's like Ronnie Horn's work. I don't know whether you know her work.
Yeah.
Like Pink Tons, that amazing cube of glass.
Yes.
And when light hits that from any side, it glows.
But it's not glass at all. And in fact, there's not so many windows. You have an obsession for light in this building.
Yes.
And the paradox is that there's not so many windows.
But there is top light
Yes.
for the art.
Zenithal.
There is top light for the art. And we have big windows that look back at the palace as a reference. And then we have these city rooms, which you went in this morning.
Yes.
And some galleries there, which you'll see when you go on the other floors, that open up.
And why do you have this obsession for light? Do you have it everywhere or specifically here?
Because light is what connects us to nature. It's what I call these circadian rhythms.
But in general or especially here?
Well, in general first.
So always you have this obsession?
I have this obsession that we live in the light. Light marks the passage of time. We live in a place where if you're up every morning, the light is changing all year.
Yes.
The light sets, the light is different colors during the day.
And in
And it
Warsaw?
moves and changes.
And in Warsaw?
And in Warsaw, I've just seen the day change 3 or 4 times since we've been here today. When the sun goes behind a cloud, the whole atmosphere of the city changes. And we want to make this building not hermetically sealed, like so many museums where you don't know where you are. I want to mark the passage of time in this building with the art, so that the art and the experience with these installations comes with the light. And so it puts you in this place, it connects you to this place and connects you to the natural world.
Is it natural? It's very urban. There's a lot of advertisement all around. It's not, you are not going to, can you meditate in front of advertisement?
I think you have to connect to the city, whatever it is, you know? Because this is their city. And, you know, you could argue that the palace is not particularly attractive. And why do we have a big window that opens to the palace?
No, but it's a symbol which is not attractive. It's Stalin's symbol.
It is a symbol. Some people don't like the architecture of that place. So I think when you're in a museum and you have an experience with the installations, you need for there to be a catalyst that connects you to the place, to this city. And I think you do that in 2 ways. One is with the changing light, that your circadian rhythms are connected to, and you have to have these moments in the museum that connects you back to the city, so you don't get lost in a dark place without any reference.
That's why you did, because you did this room, kind of meditation room, in front of nature, near Washington, in Glenstone. Yes, but here it's another scenario, right? Just in front you have Uniqlo and things like that.
Yes. Well, you connect back to the city that you live. And that's really important. It doesn't sit here in isolation. It forms these frames. And when you frame something, like the Japanese in their
Yeah.
tea houses,
This is very Japanese, in fact, no?
you frame the garden in Japan,
Yeah.
and it heightens the experience when you sit there and you meditate with the garden. Because you frame it, you heighten the experience. And I think when people sit on a bench, they come into that space, it's a breather from the art, you have that particular view framed, and it heightens your experience with the city you live.
And do you meditate yourself?
I do.
Ah, that's why we discovered your secret. Merci.
Thank you.